Hi, Dr. Diane here. Did you watch my video on attachment styles? If you think that you're the anxious ambivalent, this video is for you. If you're not sure what your love style is, go to my website, backtolove.com, and take my free quiz to find out. The results will say nervous Nora or Nick. Who has more the anxious ambivalent attachment style, I call you nervous Nora or Nick. I've changed the word anxious to nervous because anxiety isn't very descriptive. It's more that your nervous system is wired to be highly sensitive and you feel things deeply. Therefore, calling you nervous is more accurate. But in this video, I will use the words anxiety and nervous interchangeably. And if this is you, don't worry, you're not alone. The nervous person makes up to 42% of the population, at least according to my statistics. It's the most common of the attachment types. And because parents are more likely to be inconsistent in their parenting style, it's easy to develop an anxious tendency. I call them tendencies because it's a range of traits. You might be mildly nervous, or you might have a fair amount of nervousness. If you do, even the thought of dating makes you anxious. It's helpful to reflect on how you became this way. Knowing that you developed your nervous tendencies can give you some perspective, because underneath your anxiety is unprocessed, invalidated emotions. That's right, you needed your parent to see you, get you, and understand you. And for whatever reason, their own anxiety or reasons I will list below, you didn't get what you needed. As a child, you learned certain patterns to cope with your parents' inconsistencies. Only now, these same coping strategies get in the way of you finding love. Chances are a few things happened in your childhood to make you nervous. Most likely, you had an anxious parent yourself. If this was your mother, for example, she unconsciously transferred her anxiety onto you. Unconscious because she thought she was being a good mother. But on some level, she might have felt uncomfortable herself, or even self-absorbed by her own anxiety. Say you were her first child. She didn't know what she was doing. Your parent was not responsive or sensitive to your needs for connection and bonding. And because we all have something called mirror neurons, we automatically pick up on or mirror those things we see. And children are like sponges. They soak up everything they experience and feel. Before you knew it, your nervous system became wired to be sensitive. You became hypervigilant. It was the way you survived. It's not your fault either. And it's not necessarily your parents' fault because your parents learned this same attachment style from their parents. It's called epigenetics. This means that certain traits or patterns are passed down through multiple generations. So if your grandparents are dead, blame them. Or then, if not, your great-grandparents. Another dynamic that you might have experienced is where one parent is anxious and or intrusive, and the other parent is more cool or distant. So you internalize both these messages. From the anxious parent, you became a people pleaser, someone who is more codependent or an empath. From your avoidant parent, you learned that you had to work hard to get noticed by them. With this combination, no wonder you're going to be anxious, but also feel like love is working hard to get noticed in your relationship. Or at least that's what feels familiar and therefore feels like love. Your parents' behavior had a profound effect on how you will be as an adult. This is because you had hundreds of thousands of interactions with your parents and you experienced anxiety firsthand. And it's not all about your parents either. It's a two-way street between what the child needs and what the parent has to offer. Take, for example, maybe you were a colicky baby and your mother felt even more inadequate because she couldn't console you. It's a combination of your parents' attachment style, but also your temperament. In the strange situation, when the infant was reunited with their parent, you recall there was some resistance. The child was upset because the parent had left again. But it's the same resistance you feel in your own family. The family motto is get along, share everything, be close with your siblings. But this is unrealistic. What if I'm disappointed or angry? What do I do with these emotions? And the family isn't much help to get you to calm down. Now you feel trapped, but in the same way, you might idealize that a perfect partner will come along and save you or give you everything you didn't get in your childhood. But you're cautious. Actually, you're cautiously optimistic because you want love, but you're hesitant too because you've been hurt. This dynamic is certain to play out in your expectations of a partner and your tendencies to overthink and connect quickly. Your nervous style isn't obvious, at least not all the time, but rather when you are under stress or threat, or what I say, in hot water. And that threat can be many things. At the start of your relationship, the threat is not knowing where you stand. You're always waiting for the next shoe to drop. As your relationship deepens, the threat is about losing this person. Your fears of abandonment or rejection rear their ugly head. You've learned through your childhood that a certain level of excitement is good. It's the same stress, though, that keeps you connected to partners who are unavailable. While in hindsight, you can see it was unhealthy, you naturally gravitate towards what you know. No wonder your picker is off. Let's look deeper at your unresolved needs. If it wasn't safe to express your needs, you develop shame. This shame will play out in making it hard to ask for what you want and need, especially if you're the low expressive type. The high expressive type might be able to ask for what they want, but they can be intense, and then they demand that they be treated differently. And this can be when the anxious angry comes out. For the nervous type, you don't know, should I trust my gut? But what if my gut is filled with gas? It doesn't mean your intuition is off, but rather your anxiety gets the best of you. Before you even know whether someone is interested in you or not, you already care. You're watching your phone 269 times. Did they text me back? A part of your ego wants to be the one in control. But all the ups and downs of dating makes it an exhausting roller coaster ride. You wonder, how many more relationships do I have left in me? This brings me to your other pattern of overthinking. Not only did you have to be hypervigilant, you learned to go deep. You analyze and learn to dissect behaviors. Fast forward, as an adult, you should work for the FBI because you start putting patterns together. He usually texts me in the morning, and you overthink and obsess about what he's doing, but also your last text. Was it too much? Not enough? At night, you can't sleep because you're waiting to hear back from them. When it comes to boundaries, what boundaries? One more thing you never learned from your parents. When you try to set a boundary now, it feels cruel or mean. You struggle with your own self-esteem and what you deserve. In your family, perhaps your parents were very black and white. According to them, they're good people and bad ones. Now you've internalized this message and you're hard on yourself. When a relationship doesn't work out, you blame yourself and think that you're not good enough. But you're also seeking validation from others. At the same time, you've outsourced your own self-esteem. You give other people power to decide your worth. In dating, all the ambiguity just triggers you. When you don't know where you stand, this reminds you of your childhood and it feels unfair, like everyone else has it easier but you. Somehow, they're lucky and you're not. And because you struggle with feelings of self-worth, you put yourself beneath other people and elevate them. Instead of seeing yourself as a catch, you think, how did I get so lucky? It feels like everyone else calls the shots. You're kind of along for the ride and you're left waiting. And you hate waiting. You would rather be in control and know what's happening so you can plan. If something's not going to work, you want closure so you can move on. When others don't give you the answer you want, that feels cruel. But really, your anxiety is what's cruel. Your hyperarousal doesn't allow you to relax or enjoy dating. The purpose of this video is not to paint your nervous attachment style as a problem, but rather something you need to manage. For you, the first goal would be to be more relaxed in your body. If you can be calm during, after, and in between your dates, think about how much less stress you would be under. Focus on techniques that can help you be more relaxed. Start a meditation practice, do yoga and diaphragmatic breathing. Because when your body feels more relaxed, then your thoughts are more rational and you can be present and act with confidence. Do what you can to slow your relationships down. Stop getting married in your head on the first date. Learn to use your keen observations accurately. Instead of getting wrapped up in what they say, notice, do their behaviors match their words? The next thing to be aware of is your hidden expectations, because they will get you into trouble. At the first sign that your partner is feeling any ambivalence, you'll freak out. But what if I told you that ambivalence is natural for most people? Instead of retreating out of fear or demanding for more, what if you normalized your partner's fears and took a step back yourself? Can you imagine how much less pressure your partner would feel? It's okay not to know. Because while you think you're certain, it's only your strong emotions. It's too early for you to know at this point too. Let go of the romantic narrative that a man who is certain will build a house for you and write you letters every day. Throw away your checklist. Stop dating the same exact guys and learn to get accustomed to guys who won't love bomb you. They may not be as exciting, but in the long run, they'll give you more security. Finally, work on thinking more rationally and less emotionally. Try to stop overthinking. Don't assume that because you feel strongly that something is happening. And be aware to not take everything so personally. If your boyfriend pulls back, instead of asking, "Are you mad at me? Are you breaking up with me?" be more like Secure Sophia and say, "Hey, Sean, I noticed you got a little quiet. Are you okay?" Be curious, not furious. If you want to find love in dating or deepen your current relationship, it will help you to be more secure. You don't have to be perfect, but better manage your anxiety. Check out my video about Secure Sophia and you can learn a lot from her. The secure person is your new role model. If you learn to be anxious, then you can learn to be secure. Maybe you never knew there was another way to be, but now you do. So keep practicing. And if you need more help on deciding is he the one or not, and how to go from first date to forever, go to my website and check out my online courses. Thanks. I'll see you soon.